I'm gonna make motorcycling great again.
This is your Fast Life Motorcycle channel, and Fousey has a motorcycle! And he's crashed it already. So, first of all, and this is no shock, I'm actually surprised he didn't buy something like a ZX-10 or something like that. This is his first bike. First bike he buys a 1000cc, I think it's a 998cc bike. This is a Honda Africa Twin. Now, it's a twin. I assume that they call it a twin because it has a V-twin engine, and you can see the engine right here. So twin engines are not too crazy like the inline fours. However, it's a 998cc twin. The Suzuki SV650, that bike alone, I mean, it's a questionable first bike. I personally don't recommend it. I recommend it for someone who's gonna buy a crazy bike, like a race bike, like a Ninja ZX6R or a Ninja ZX10R. If you're that type of crazy type, and folks who've done that and you've been fine, that's anecdotal. You got lucky. It doesn't really matter that you got, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I can cross the highway right now blindfolded and survive. It's possible, but I'm not gonna go brag about, say, hey, well, I crossed the street blindfolded and nothing happened to me. Yeah, you got lucky. It's just a bad idea to start with a race bike. That makes no sense. A race bike, no. So if you're of that mindset, then I'm like, oh, here's a compromise. If you really want all this power to start with, you really want to push the envelope, get something like an SV650, because it has a good amount of torque, you know, compared to a lot of the beginner bikes that are going to be not a lot of power at all. But the up top power is it's docile compared to the race bikes. Now, that's a characteristic of the V-twin engine, but this is the 998cc. So, in case in point, the SV1000 was called a Widowmaker. So there you go. Now, I don't know how this engine is tuned on the Africa Twin. I've never ridden it before, but that's a lot of power potentially. And weight. Weight is something you want to stay away from on a new bike, because it makes it more difficult, more challenging, and more likely that you'll drop it. And also, it's a brand new bike. You don't want to learn on a brand new bike, man. You just don't do that. It's the same thing with cars, actually. Cars with similar transmissions in terms of manual cars. You don't want to buy a brand new M5 to learn how to drive a stick shift, man. You want an old car to do that with. You're messing up your transmission on an expensive car. Now, I'm not so worried about the transmission on a bike like this, but dropping it and stuff like that. This is, you want to get a bike you can learn on. Something that's easy to use, low power, and you're not worried about dropping it, so you're more relaxed on it. Not a brand new bike that you're somebody like this guy who, you know, he's clearly he's definitely the squid type. And it's interesting me saying that because I don't know, he's very fake. I mean, he does all these fake prank videos, so you gotta take what he does with a grain of salt. But he bought a lot of gear, so props to him getting the gear. He got good gear, Dainese jacket, some nice gloves, he got a good helmet. I don't know if he bought any boots or not, but that's good because he's got a lot of kids watching him, setting a good example, you know, be safe, whatever. But I don't know, he's such a fake guy. I don't know if he's just doing it just because of the image or whatever, you know, because he did mention in the video, this is before anyone said anything, he's saying like, hey, I don't want you guys to think I'm not being safe or whatever. So like he's kind of worried about what people will think about him as opposed to him being safe himself, because I don't see him on his own buying a jacket. You know what I mean? I see him being a public figure and concerned about how he looks to people and doing it just for whatever. Matter of fact, I won't be surprised to see him riding just like this. Oh, by the way, it's funny I'm saying this, and in the photo that you're looking at, he's not wearing his gear. He's just practicing in an awful spot, which is already showing his bad judgment. He's in California with tons of open space, and where does he go? On top of some parking garage. But anyway, he's going super slow. It's California, it's hot, you know, so he took off the jacket just for practicing. He's not going that fast. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it'd be the equivalent of riding a bicycle, except the bicycle's extremely heavy. But anyway, yeah, so let's take a look at some more of this. All right, go Fousey. Brah, brah. Brah, 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 brah. Brah, 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 brah. Brah, 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 brah. Brah, brah, brah. Brah, brah, brah. Where's the crash, man?
Literally a couple hours after I get my bike and I set it down.
And that, folks, is why you don't buy a brand new bike for your first bike. I mean, he's doing everything for this to happen. Well, not everything. He didn't buy a race bike. Props to him for doing that. But I don't necessarily think he did that because, he's trying to be safe. This is the bike that attracted him, I think. Making an assumption here, but I think he bought this because that's the one he wanted. It's not because he was like, you know what, I shouldn't start with a race bike. If he wanted a race bike, I'm pretty sure a guy like him, he would have bought the race bike. But other than that, he's doing everything to have this happen or to set himself up. Brand new bike, heavy bike, 1000cc bike or 998cc bike. Yeah. And then also, so actually, wow, I totally called it. And he picked a bad location. The reason why he crashed had something to do with a lady who was pulling out of a spot, and then she gave him the go, but he was in a weird position. Some kind of weird, awkward thing happened between him and a car where he lost his balance and fell over. So it's like none of this is surprising. You don't get a brand new bike. You don't start on a 998cc bike. You don't go practicing in a freaking parking lot. I mean, well, parking lots are fine, but not a tight one like this. This is not much space. He's driving right by cars. It's just that's just not an ideal place to practice on. I don't know why he would have chosen a spot like this. And then also the other thing that he does that a mistake I think a lot of people do is a lot of riders don't know what they're doing out there, and then they go and they teach other riders how to not know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really know what you're doing, and then you go teach your buddy so he can be on the same level. So it's like blind leading the blind. Now I don't know this guy that brought up. It's one of his bras. It's one of his fans that came out to teach him how to ride, and I assume that this guy either he suggested this really bad spot that resulted in this crash, or it was Fousey. What am I calling this guy? Fousey. Maybe it was his idea to go there, but look at the results. I don't have a crystal ball here. You know what I mean? It's just common sense. From the time I saw him on the roof, the very first shot, I was like, why are you on a freaking roof in a parking? And I saw the cars right next to it. When you're learning, man, things happen, man. You freak out and you hold the throttle and then you're like accelerating and then you accelerate right into a car. You need lots of wide open space. Also, you need some place where you can feel relaxed. When you have things close to you, that makes you more nervous. They're more likely to have an incident. So you want wide open space. You know what I mean? You want wide open space. You want a bike that's light, a bike that's friendly, so you can relax and breathe and focus on learning the new skills. Not this thing. Anyway, you are watching your Fast Life Motorcycle channel. Slowly but surely, we are coming back. I know it's been a while, but work before play. Make a man wise and healthy, and I don't even know what I'm saying right now, but I gotta go to work, guys, so I'm out.